Guys, welcome back. So this week we're going to touch upon a new video in this series we're building all about sort of the environment and different wind conditions, ground conditions. So this week we want to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about some of the traits we see about people when they're playing into the wind, and some of the maybe mistakes you make when you're teeing the ball up, where you strike it in the head. Kind of leads in a little bit to our videos about CG location,
yeah, it does.
And it can almost it will help educate you guys as to the value of catching the ball in a certain part of the head. So, you know, take a driver head and kind of talk to that quickly here. So, anywhere you strike it off center will destabilize the head, cause it to twist, turn, tilt, right? So, when we're playing into the wind, Matty, we were talking about it earlier. You know, most people will inevitably tee it down.
Yeah.
Right? Try and tee it a bit lower, try and flight it a bit lower.
For sure.
But in actual fact, that becomes counterproductive to the objective of hitting it through the wind.
So I think most people think wind, you need to hit the ball low.
That's right.
But there's a difference between hitting the ball low with a lot of spin and hitting the ball low and flat.
And that's the big variable. So what we were discussing earlier on was when players hit it in the lower half of the head, what happens? Okay, so we strike it in the low half of the head tilts down, we lose the loft at launch, then the ball gears up. So we end up increasing the spin significantly.
Right.
If we have that ball so far teed down, Matty, you can't do anything but hit it in the lower half of the head. There's just the club head will not be, unless you significantly lean that shaft forward, you will not be able to find the equator or above of that golf club. Therefore, you know, getting a stable sort of strike and spin rate.
So we're going to go about 20 miles into the wind.
Yeah, we'll
pretty
pick
stiff breeze off the tee on a par 5.
Hole number 2 at Pebble, straight away par 5. You know, again, same sort of thing. It's not a long one, so you might tee this down, just try and squeeze one out there. But again, tracking the strike location.
Yeah.
We want to basically see how that launch and spin are influenced by a particularly low tee, then actually going to a slightly higher tee, trying to raise the launch, lower the spin, and see what consequence that has, ramifications on distance. It was always, we used to discuss this a lot, the wind tunnel testing, the high launch, low spinner versus the low launch, high spinner. You would far rather hit it up there with a little bit less spin than down with lots of spin.
So this is basically, we're going with sort of your traditional wisdom to start with, teeing it low.
100%.
This is, to me, extremely low, much lower than I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
Let's see what we get. So I may have got the face closed a little bit on that.
That's it. Yep, just turned it, and getting into the wind, it's kind of what people generally do, but straight out the gates we're seeing launch angle at 7, Matty. Enough delivered loft, but we are getting the head tilting down a lot because obviously strike below the head. So
we would call that almost a case of overdoing it. So this is what can happen when I tee it low and then get the face shut.
That's right. That is exactly right. Okay, a few more.
That's probably a little bit more like what we were talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look at that ball just stall in the air there.
So obviously it was pushed, but so how much did that one backspin?
2,700 RPMs.
So obviously at that ball speed, that's way more spin than you'd want, and the wind ate it up and it went 260.
It did. They stalled it.
Lost about 50 yards. Okay.
That's closer, turning a little bit now. We obviously know into the wind we will see that spin rate exaggerated a little bit, and to the point where it's going to turn it more.
It shows you how much the ball will really extra curve.
It's really interesting, Matt. It really is. It's just eating your golf ball up here.
Yeah, so really low launch.
Look at that going, low launch, and the spin isn't high, but the 20 mile an hour wind is just absolutely eating the ball up.
It's probably a good testament to how good this club is on a low strike at Big Flash.
Yeah.
Keeping the spin pretty low.
Absolutely.
Okay, let me get one
We've
more.
always seen, ever since Jailbreak came out, we've always seen how quick
Keeps it low.
the Callaway drivers are in the lower part of the head.
Okay, just try to keep this one from overdrawing and give us one last example.
Yeah, you'll like that one.
Yeah, that's better.
But look at it.
It's really floating.
Stalling.
But that's what you see. You go into the wind, you
That's what it
swing
is.
hard, and the ball
Exactly
shoots up
what
and
it
goes
is.
nowhere. That's what we've all seen.
You know, you've crushed that there. 173 ball speed, 2500, balls went nowhere. All right, let's go higher tee.
Okay.
We're going to try to sort of almost launch this up. We know your spin tendencies are low anyway.
So looking to strike it at the lowest in the middle, if not slightly above the equator, I guess. Keep the spin down.
That's going to be the key. Come on back.
Okay, so that's closer to that launch conditions you were talking about, I think. Obviously landing in the rough wasn't ideal, but...
You know, 16 launch, 1500, Matt, it's exactly the point we're trying to make here.
Yeah.
The difference in launch and spin, the previous one had 6 miles an hour more ball speed, but carried 25 yards less. Now, obviously the height was the issue, but high launch, low spin, if you can, will go significantly further.
That's really counterintuitive because that shot would have looked crazy high into the wind, but it's just not spinning and rising.
There is an element for a lot of people when they play, though. If you would rather see a slightly safer low one than that exposed high one, but if you can set it down that left side like that, there's no danger down the left side of this golf hole.
And I think that hitting into the wind with a driver is probably mentally and approach-wise different than what we'll do with an iron. I don't know that you'll be trying to hit a high launch, low spin with a 6-iron.
Well, that's the other part what happens because, and we'll talk to this in a minute, is delivery often changes a little bit. You end up leaning into it a little bit, you squeeze it, your angle of attack goes down, and obviously it depends if the loft stays on it, your spin loft can increase with a low strike, then all sorts of spin rates start happening.
Right.
So let's hit a couple more. Well, that last one was really close.
That was quite good. Probably didn't have the spin as low as the one prior, but
what do you think? Maybe
that was a pretty good
twos,
spin.
Maybe like 2000.
Yeah, so I don't think my strike being more centered didn't kick the spin up as much, but was certainly more balanced.
Yeah, a little more loft delivered there.
But that's still 12 yards better than the best low T one, and that was basically just a normal swing.
Yeah, I mean, there's where we're kind of going with this whole thing. Ball speed's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Ball speed's the same. Launch angle's the difference. 400 RPMs of difference or 350 of difference. The difference net, 16 yards out of that.
Crazy.
So,
and I don't think that it improved, at least with the driver, I don't think it improved my dispersion either to have it low because there was a lot of variables that went on. If I got it closed, I was hooking it. If I left it open, I was really spraying it a little short left. Kind of just wreaks havoc, doesn't it?
Yep. So a couple more, so you really catch one. So to say you're really going to go for this one, you want to hit up on it a bit.
Okay, I'll exaggerate that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That looked good.
Yeah. I don't think it would have spun as low, but I hit that really well. But leave that one up for a second. What do you think that ball goes without the wind?
14, 24, 176. It flies easily 310 to 315.
Right.
Easy. Well, let's do this. Let's
go the other way.
Got you in a little bit of a groove here.
But that last one is just, I don't know, it's something, if you say you do normally hit it that far, yes, you lost 30 yards, but I made more or less the same swing I normally would on a par 5. And it didn't really have to do anything special, and it went 20 yards further than teeing it low. I mean, you got to say almost teeing it low is just not a good idea for most people.
For most people, especially if your tendencies are to strike it a bit low in the head anyway. You've got enough sweet spot control, you're probably going to do quite a nice job to do okay, but a lot of players when they play, and they just get it low in the head, it just goes nowhere.
Yeah.
They just rob themselves of all the potential distance.
And think about how much you practice that. Like, have you really hit enough balls in the range to know how to do that shot, or are you just kind of trying it because it's a windy day and you're out with your buddies, right? All right, what'd you do? Down?
A little down.
See how far it goes? A little down, he says.
Off the bunker.
Try to launch it up too?
Yeah, big time.
I left it open.
Just left it a little out there.
Just didn't quite square it up. That was close though.
Okay. 177.
It's amazing. It's amazing it spun that much.
So there's an idea. So look at those last two. Spin rate's the same.
Yeah.
Ball speed is
Essentially
similar.
the same.
But half a mile an hour apart. Launch angle is a fraction higher. 83 yards of carry distance difference.
It's nuts.
I mean, people cannot underestimate. A lot of people think 10 miles an hour ahead, win 10 yards, something like that. Not bad.
Like, fair enough, there's 20 miles an hour is a lot of wind, but there's plenty of places where it blows around 20 miles, about 30 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
You get windy days up here like that.
Let's see if we can catch this one.
I got to turn it a bit.
Turn it a little bit.
Okay, just a bad strike. That's the one. I got it now.
Look at that. Close.
Just got to get it a little more left. Didn't hit that square. Come back.
It's trying.
It's so close.
Interesting.
Yeah, really.
Did that surprise you?
The amount to which the yardage came off into the wind was surprising to me. I think I've been on the course, hit a good drive into the wind, and been like, what the hell? But that amount to see it go 260 is interesting to see that much. Yeah,
I think even just the theory of it is interesting. I think how much you lose. I mean, you see guys when they hit driver off the ground.
Yeah. It's very true.
The kind of what they're dealing with when they do that. If you ever see those slow-mo pictures of when they hit it the ground, the amount of downward deflection they get because it's so far off CG that it takes all of the loft off it. That's why it comes in so low.
And a lot of the time, I think people get the wrong impression of that shot because they'll see the pros hit that shot and they can get the ball to run up. Yeah. But they're good at keeping the face either square or a little bit closed.
That's right.
Everyone else that strikes the ball low off a low tee is leaving it open and fanning it up in the air.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing. You're getting so much gearing off of that low strike. Yeah. But you kind of need to because you're getting so much downward tilt from the head. Yeah. You kind of need something to create lift, and that's what it is. So, guys, when you're playing into the wind and that sort of thing, especially if you're on a par 5 and you might be on the cusp of not being able to kind of get to the green, don't be teeing it down and expecting to hit it a bit further because you're teeing it down and hitting it low into the wind.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
I don't think these numbers could be any more clear cut.
Yeah.
I mean, basically the same ball speed, launched it about 4 degrees higher, a little less spin, 16 yards in the air, 18 total. And there were ones that were far more separated than that.
Yeah, and that's the averages, but we definitely
huge difference. And the dispersion when it teed low was really erratic, to be perfectly honest. Like, my worst shots were when it was teed down. I had some way left, some way right, and lost distance. There's just nothing really good to say about that.
Definitely. Yeah,
interesting. So we'll definitely do. I mean, we had some fun a little bit with the downwind at the end. That was kind of interesting to see how much that can help if you catch it just right. But more to come. We're going to do irons.
Yeah, and I'm excited to do this stuff once we get outside, especially in Orlando when we get to the courses, and we're going to take quad out with us. It'd be cool to pick a hole and we'll maybe catch each other at some point and try and film a couple of those.
See how the ball flies and knowing the wind conditions. Yeah, exactly. I think it's a great idea.
You can just record some of the data from it and see what it's like in real sort of time.
Probably try some different golf balls. 100%. I know I have a few in my bag. See how they perform in the wind. I know people are curious about, like, TP5 is known to be good in the wind. So
exactly.
Dive into some of that stuff. I think it's very applicable to a round of golf. It's not still very often.
It really is. Some of the those variables that have to be factored into when you're playing with the elements. And we are next time going to talk a little bit about elevation changes and how land angle change. So especially elevation changes, especially with regards to hitting your second shot into a green. Obviously, the ball not getting to carry on its full trajectory. It's going to be coming in significantly flatter if you're hitting uphill, significantly steeper if you're hitting downhill. Completely changes that angle of descent number. So you have to then, obviously, regardless of what it launched and spun at, you have to understand that that angle of descent is going to make the ball change as it hits the green.
Yeah, and that is one of the most misunderstood things. I think when you play golf with people, oh, this par 3 is downhill, you bring a friend, they're like, what club should I be hitting? I don't think I'm even that good at giving advice on that, so I'm definitely looking forward to doing that video.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Guys, this is a bit of a different one for us. I mean, it's just what we do. It's digging into the science. That's what it is. It's digging into the why, which in this case is, why when we strike it low in the head into the wind do we lose a ton of distance? The ball goes nowhere. This is sort of based on some testing that I had done previously, into the wind back in Scotland, that's for sure.
It's the place to do it.
Yes, that certainly is the place to do it. So hope this has been interesting and can give you guys some value next time you're on the course and are faced with the wind. Don't feel like you need to tee it as low as you possibly can. Squeeze one out there. Make sure you are still hitting up on it. Make sure you've got the tee high enough to hit it. Certainly not lower than the centre. The centre to slightly higher is good.
This region.
Anywhere in there, you're going to get the curvature of the face and the gear effect to work to your favour.
Great.
Excellent. Guys, leave your comments below. Subscribe. Don't miss the rest of the series that we kind of film on the Elements series. I think this will all be stuff that come the season will be good value for all of you.
It's going to be great.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.